Hello and welcome to another episode of Intune.training, the place to learn how to use Microsoft Intune. The Steve and Adam Show with Ben, the intern. Hey guys.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey Adam, how you going?
Pretty good. What's going on, guys? How you been?
Been pretty
We're
good.
good.
Feels like a while since we've caught up.
Yeah, taking some trying to build up some buffer and take some time off things.
Yep.
And making sure we have some fuel left in the tank. So good stuff. So Steve's got a cool topic for us tonight, which will be talking about hopefully a quick one. We say that and then we go for an hour.
Yes.
The Microsoft 365 Network Connectivity Test Tool preview. Is that the correct? I don't no idea. They told me to use gestures. So for the hearing impaired, preview. So Steve, take it away. What are we doing?
All right. So how many times have you gone out onto a customer site and you've had issues with networking not working correctly? I know I have. Me. And let's face it, this is where you've got the overzealous security team that are doing the HTTPS inspection. You've got the team that are going, well, I want to intercept every bit of traffic. We need to inspect everything. We need to own every bit of data coming in and out of the network because we don't trust our staff.
Mm.
That doesn't really work when you start looking at the Microsoft 365 stack, does it? Like, we have issues because
but have you met our staff, Steve? I mean,
yeah, exactly. I mean, the first thing that we've generally said is we go in and we'll say that the hardest part about if you want to move to a complete cloud management solution is getting away from some of your lockdown network requirements, which immediately you get like bug-eyed, like, what? We can't do that. We need it locked down. Yeah.
Yep.
But this is all part of that whole like zero trust model and all that sort of things of where you've got to rethink which things you trust, which things you don't trust, and then rethink how you can secure things in a way that doesn't require you to put 8,000 exceptions into your firewall. Because if you're doing that, then why do we have the firewall if we're having to do that kind of thing?
So the best terminology I've ever heard for a firewall is the cheese grater.
Yes, exactly.
Because it might not be open for that port explicitly, but it'll figure it out eventually and it'll get through. Don't worry about it. It's all good.
Yeah, exactly. Nice. So what does this thing do to help us?
So what this will do is it'll look at the network integrity between your device and the Microsoft 365 platform. It doesn't do all of Intune today, but it's more looking at your SharePoint, your Outlook, and everything associated for identity. So you'll start having that conversation of, well, we're seeing all of these issues. Is there any other problems that we need to look at? So it's that topic to start having that conversation. It will also tell you where your endpoints are. So why is that important? If you have a very large multinational organization and for whatever reason you have people in Australia and people in the US and your networking team have set it up so we're going to route and exit all of our internet via the US, the experience in Australia is going to be really, really poor. This will tell you where you're exiting and accessing Office 365 and the M365 stack. So that's also one of the things that we look at with this test scenario. So it gives you all of the drill through and running it through. So which one of you guys want to share a VM where we can go through that process?
I will do it.
Awesome.
So you've got me thinking here now, and so I'm trying to remote access my my business network because I want to try this while we're doing this.
Yep. So what we're going to go to, Ben, is connectivity.office.com.
Cool. Let me just open up the old Edge.
Yes, please.
O-Edge.
Yes.
Connectivity.
And we'll get Ben to zoom in a little bit if you can.
I can.
In the browser, at least.
Oh, yeah, sure. Sorry, it's I'm remoted onto a thing doing remote-y stuff.
So this is the address. Obviously, we'll put it in the notes down the bottom, but we're going to connectivity.office.com, and then we have the ability to go and look at automatically detecting the location, or you can manually set your location and say, well, actually, I know I'm here. Tell me if I'm wrong. So if we just hit run test on that, Ben.
Cool. So I'm just looking at all these. So we can add domain. What does adding a domain do for us?
Let's have a look.
Okay.
So if we expand that out, the arrow at the end there. So this is where you can put in your domain name. So if we put in Intune.training, it will then go into a route.
Location permission was denied in either Windows privacy settings or by your request. So now this is going to be interesting.
Before you click OK on that, Ben, if you hit settings down the bottom, it'll now pop up settings to turn on location, because by default that's turned off. So you need to be an admin to be able to turn on location for the device,
or push out a policy to enable this. What I would suggest is for any organizations that are hesitant to do this, have a policy and deploy it to just yourself or to a specific group of people that will be testers, basically. And then it will just enable that, because obviously location settings. Yeah. Okay.
And then you'll need to do the one below it there, Ben, before you close out. Go back. And then there's allow apps to use your location.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be needed to be able to do that. Right. Okay. The other option is you can set your default location, and it'll then, rather than having it needing to be location turned on, that's what the service will use. So if you then minimize that,
basically spoofing the location, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Click OK, and we'll go run test again. And yes. So this is where we're telling you what we're going to be doing on the device. We're letting you know that we're accessing that location. So if you're sitting there and you change it to manual, then you won't get that prompt as well. So for those of you that can't do that, that's what you can do. So you can see that Ben's VM sitting in New South Wales. We'll run that, or save that at least, Ben, for the time being. The reason why we want to save this, we'll go into it in a minute. But we'll just look at what we get without it first. So if you scroll down for us, Ben, you can see that the performance you'll see at the top is the connectivity for the M365 users. This is the best performance you're going to get, which is the 80 to 100 range. If you're sitting in the lower ones, that experience is going to be degraded, and that's something you need to look at for your end users.
Okay. And this is all just color coded, right? So like if this was brown or whatever, it would be bad, and we'd need to investigate that.
Yep. And you'll see at the top it actually says 80 to 100 best you. So this is where you're sitting, is in that top 40%.
This is your best you.
This is the best version of me.
That's right. So if you keep scrolling down, there's not much else extra there. The reason why we want to have a look is the extra icons down the bottom. It tells you where your DNS recursive receiver is, your location, everything associated around that. So you'll see that in Australia, we have Exchange both in Melbourne and Sydney. So
that's cool. Is that because it's leveraging the two data centers? Or the two instances?
So yes.
East and south.
This is those two servers that Microsoft has over there.
That's correct.
Small little dinky things. Yeah.
So then if you scroll up to the top, there's a details tab where we select that. And you'll see that this has some information. So your location's neutral bay. Well, that's where the host is. But then you can see where the egress is and everything associated around that. So your distance. Right.
Okay.
And then you can step through all of this information and start understanding, well, how far are you traveling to get access to it? And you'll see that there's a small amount of information. What we're then going to do, Ben, is we're going to hit the run option down the bottom.
Yep.
And this is going to run an executable that runs like 700 tests, I think it is.
I need to install .NET Core.
You do.
So, I'm doing the same over on my machine, my company machine, which has I'm not an admin on the box, and we've got Beyond Trust blocking executables, and I also don't have .NET Core. And generally, executables would be downloaded on our net, or would be blocked on our network.
Sure.
So just to get to this test, we'd probably fix all the network problems before we even got there.
Unless you deployed it out via Intune.
Sure.
Yeah, that's true. Also, that's very. It sounds like you have a lot of confidence that you'd be able to resolve all of your networking problems very quickly, there, Adam. Impressive.
Maybe.
Yeah. just one afternoon, just fixing up all the networks issues.
Fine. Yeah, no worries.
832 tests. It's running 830.
There you go.
Wow.
So yeah, this executable will run that 832, as Adam's saying, which we'll see in the UI shortly once Ben gets .NET Core installed.
As you can tell, I've never seen this, therefore didn't know that there was a requirement for .NET Core. While we're doing this, we should probably tell everyone that they should be installing .NET Core as part of their default suite of applications and sort of prereqs. .NET Core is basically, for me, it's .NET Core and .NET 3.5 are the two things that don't natively come with Windows that I just need on all of my machines, and that I recommend for everyone to have installed.
Definitely. So if we hit close, and now we just go back to the downloads.
Yeah.
This should pop up, and we should be able to now see the process go through. And there you go. So this is where it's going through and doing that network onboarding advanced tests. And there's 832 tests that it's going through, run through. And this is where it just goes into, it's basically hitting the endpoints and telling you which ones are working, which ones aren't.
It's so good.
At a very, very high level. So it's a simple way of understanding how things work.
Yeah. Also, I mean, it's fantastic as so if you don't sit in the networking infrastructure area of your company, as long as you obviously have the ability to run this tool, you can, I assume, capture the data and then send it to your networking team going, hey, here are the problems that are stopping us from moving forward. Can you remediate these? And at least this will help them understand what they need to remediate as well, which is sort of half the battle.
Definitely. So what we'll see once it goes through is there will be the ability to share a report. So the last 5 or 10 tests appear to take a little bit longer than the rest of them.
Okay.
So I'm guessing it's hitting a whole heap of additional big data points.
I don't know. Have you had much chance to play around with this and like have Fiddler running in the background as well to like identify exactly what it's doing? That could be cool.
No,
I bet what you'd find is every one of them is a portal dot something, and it's just 800 Microsoft portals that they know about.
What we'll also do is we'll put a link down the bottom, but I'll send it. Ben, you want to open up the docs page that we sent earlier?
Yes,
if you want.
Would love to. Give me 1 second.
Because what we're going to see in there as well is all of the things that it's checking. And it's talking around your egress, it's talking around distance from network, egress, proxies, VPN, split tunneling.
I can't paste my clipboard.
Because you should be able to control B.
Am I in an enhanced session?
Yes.
That's why. I feel like we did this last time as well.
Probably. So you'll see here, you want to zoom in just a touch there, Ben.
Yep.
If we then scroll down, you'll have a list of all of the information that we're checking.
Oh, so it's actually documented what we're tracking?
Yep. So if you scroll up just a touch.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. One little bit more. So what happens at each test step? This is where it breaks it through. So before the executable's downloaded, it's going off and getting your office location information. That's going to be whether it's the manual one or whether it's the automated one that we used. Then you've got your JavaScript test, and then it'll say, hey, I want to download the advanced tool. because the advanced stuff's going to give me more information, and you'll see there it explicitly states it needs .NET Core. And then we just build out from there. So if you keep scrolling down, you'll see everything that we're going to run through. Yeah.
So there are 2 parts. Yep, cool. And a downloadable Windows client. And it's just, it's going through what we're doing.
Yep. See, you could just read the docs instead of watching these videos. Get through it faster.
You could, but then you miss out on our amazing banter that we've spent decades honing.
Exactly. So this gives you all that detailed information. So if we go back to the...
see how we're going.
Yep. Still going.
It's taking a while on these ones.
Both of mine are still rolling as well. So
wow. Which is good. It's obviously showing there's a lot of verbosity with what it's actually doing.
Mine is completed.
Oh, fancy.
Wait, it just closed and now it's off into space.
So you'll see here you also then have the ability to share the information. That's super important. So you can then share it with your admin, Microsoft, Office 365 admins, and or anybody with report ID, which is the next section.
Yeah, nice. Do they get just like an email notification about this, I'm assuming?
Yep, or you can grab the link. So
or you can grab the link, sure.
Is that?
Oh, link. This is cool.
Adam's just sitting there going, "Oh, this is shiny." And I'm assuming, Adam, that because you did it on your works environment, we can't share your screen and look at it.
I'm not without some editing later. But one of the important bits is there's a VPN split tunnel component that it shows here, and so it tells me that Exchange Online optimized is tunneled. SharePoint Online optimized is tunneled, and Microsoft Teams optimized is split out.
Interesting. So this is almost done, so we'll be able to dig into the report here. Come on.
So if we go back to the docs just quickly, Ben, probably the cool stuff I want to point out is just after where we talk about the report and sharing the link, it talks about the results and the information that you can use them for. And that's probably the most important part is after the next image, it steps through all of the data points you're going to see. So if you keep scrolling down a little bit, this is where it steps through what that means. Yeah, it explains what it means. So where we saw the network egress was over 500 miles for you guys, you'd be able to sit there and go, all right, well, what's the information? What's the problem with being more than that? And it's going to say, well, it's increased likelihood of latency over 25 milliseconds.
For sure. So this is done. So I'm just going to hit close.
Yep. And then we go back to the first tab up there. And if we scroll right to the top, we're still in the details pane. This is where you'll see the information. So we'll go back to summary and then details just to make sure it's refreshed.
And by the way, I did the sign in piece and then it changed the sidebar so that I have it kind of puts all your historical reports in one place there.
So what we'll do there then, Ben, is go right to the top.
Yep.
And there's the sign in option.
Oh yeah.
Right in the middle of the screen.
Well, they're both.
Same thing. Same,
but different.
Did that work or did it just drop out? Oh no, it did. Look at that.
That's it. Yeah, so it adds reports over there on the side.
Look at that seamless single sign-in.
Yes.
Because it's what was the term that I read about the other day? Because it's a first level, like a premium. This is a term that denotes because it's a Microsoft product, it gets access to seamless single sign-on.
I don't know what you're talking. First party?
First party, that's the one. Yeah, because it's a first party application. It has all the inherent trust to allow that authentication. Cool. Nice. Okay. So we've got that information. What am I doing now?
So now if we scroll down, we'll see if there's any errors. But I doubt it because of how this environment is.
Download speed.
Oh, there you go. Ooh. So it's kept at
0.96.
So this is where it's a matter of you then have a conversation with your network team and go, hey, why are you limiting me?
Yeah, sure.
you guys are doing something to my tenant or my network. And you can then break through the network paths as well. And you can see where you go.
Wow, look at
who
this.
your ISP is, and step it through. And that's not just for Outlook, it's for Teams, it's for SharePoint. So
yeah,
it's that useful situation where you can test things. And the jitter speed, for example, you want to make sure that you've got a good performance. You don't want it high jittery because then you lose information. Or your videos aren't good. So
this would be a great tool to utilize sort of at that discovery stage of any new rollout. So you like get the framework set up in the environment for your proof of concept or whatever. Get a machine provisioned, virtual machine, whatever, and then just run this. Have that report, and then you can sit down with the networking team and discuss any obvious issues. I think that's fantastic.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
So as we said, it doesn't include Intune, all that technology today, but you never know what may happen, and that's me not knowing anything about it, but
sure.
A useful tool.
I assume conceptually, the scope of this would make sense for it to grow as new features, new endpoints appear. Cool.
Yep.
If I can figure out how to get back to the meeting window. Hey, so okay, so I will edit this hopefully well. So I have signed into my company. So I saved my report, and then I was able to go and retrieve it from the reports pane over here. And so this is what we're looking at. And so I need to make sure I bleep out my IP address and things, but most of it is not a big deal. So this is what I was showing you for the VPN. So I was connected on VPN, and then it's telling me what's tunneled and what's not. Now we're using Exchange on premises, so that it's not a big deal.
So it's interesting that it's thrown it up as a warning.
Well, that's because you're tunneling your Exchange and SharePoint because you haven't split it. Because there's no need to at that point in time.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and so the other thing here is that each of these things, if you hover over them, they take you to a dock. So if you look in the lower, pointing at my tray down in the lower left by your start menu, as you hover, it gives you the URLs. There you go. So as I hover on this one, you can see the URLs that it's going to take you to, and it gives you all the information about why is this important? What should you configure?
So that's the same doc that we're just working through. Adam.
Yeah, but it takes you to
just
the very
takes you to the bookmark. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so but I think it's great that you don't have to go dig around and look for it. They're all hot linked directly there.
Definitely.
So then the thing I thought that was neat down here is so what are these TCP connections? What are these things that I need to open up? What am I missing there? Could this be why Skype always has trouble?
Yes.
Sorry, what's Skype?
Definitely.
Well, we still use Skype for Business for things. Oh, I'm going to have to bleep out some of those things. So just imagine you don't see any of this, but you can.
I'm writing them all down.
But anyway, you can expand all of your trace routes as well, which is pretty cool. So.
And then if you hit summary for me, Adam, I'm just curious to see what the map looks like. So you'll see there where everything sits. And one of the things to note is on the right-hand side, where Ben had 80-100 best as him, Adam's sitting on 60-80.
60-80, yeah.
Well, and that's over a VPN
connection.
Yeah, sure.
Now I connected directly to a VM sitting at my office, and I'm looking at it over on the side, and I'm 80 to 100 as well. So, so yeah, it really just depends on where you're at and all that stuff. But I think it's a great tool for sure to be able to sort out stuff. It would be wonderful if this gets expanded, like you guys were saying, it gets expanded to support other things, like I don't know, the all autopilot things that we need to contact because
for sure.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Recently, I we're dealing with the SSL decryption stuff. That's a real challenge. And you go through all of the official, URLs and all these things, and it's like, oh no, there's this other one that we're missing, and you got to find it with Fiddler and Wireshark and monitoring the Palo Alto and things. And
what I would say there is the docs are the requirements for networking on both M365 or all of M365 includes both IP addresses and wildcard web addresses. And a lot of security teams don't like doing IP ranges. They don't like doing wildcard web addresses. For sure. That they want to be, that their rule of thumb is, I want every IP address resolved to a DNS record. And that's where you then turn around and go, well, hang on. We are scaled to the point that that URL could be on 200 different web addresses. So
there's no real way to quantifiably do that.
Well, so like we won't allow. So we generally are doing wildcards for Microsoft specific things, but things like AzureEdge.net. Azure Edge is a CDN. It's a public-facing CDN that anybody. So like, I believe PowerShell Gallery uses Azure Edge.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to autopilot. I'm trying to install the get Windows Autopilot info script from PowerShell Gallery. So I call networking. I say, okay, can you monitor the traffic? Can you see? Okay, well, we've got the URL to it. Okay, well, what do you wildcard, or what do you whitelist? Do you only whitelist the script? Well, the script needs several other modules.
That's correct.
Well, but you can't, according to their guidelines, they can't whitelist all star.azureedge.net or star.PowerShell Gallery, because it's a public gallery with public content. And that's what they were trying to protect from, is we don't trust it. We don't know who it came from. Let's not let it get installed. And so where do you, what do you do?
At this point in time, you start talking that zero trust conversation of, well, hang on. If the device is protecting itself and it's doing heuristic checks on the file when it's being opened up, it's doing checks when it's being downloaded, it's being checked when it's executing.
Why do you care?
Why do I need to inspect it on the way through?
Exactly. And this is the big conversation that has to be had if you are in the enviable position to be able to move from complete on-prem managed to full cloud management with that zero trust model. It's not an easy conversation to have. It really isn't. It's quite difficult.
And here's the thing that makes it difficult from my perspective. I'm not a networking guy. I'm not a security guy. I explicitly have avoided those things because I don't like them. They don't intrigue me. They're black boxes in many cases. And yet I am finding that I am having to do the research and learn enough of how this stuff works, so that I can have an intelligent conversation with my networking guy or the security guy, so that when he asks his first question, I don't say, oh, like,
I don't know.
And so this is quite the challenge. It's a learning and growth opportunity, and it's fine, but it's the road that I'm on. This is the only way I'm going to win this and get what we need in order to keep moving forward with this, is to learn the stuff and have these conversations. But man, this is a tough one.
But obviously tools like this make that conversation easier, right? So we're not sitting here advocating that everyone go out and become a hacky network admin at all. No. But things like this really make it easy that, if you believe there are issues, but you can't quantifiably pin, blame on anything or find the thing, run this. If there's a problem, it's probably going to detect it, and you can just send the report out and just go, look, we can have a deeper conversation later, but I've found a problem. can we start having that conversation now?
Yes.
Here's some actual evidence.
Exactly. And this comes back to that whole conversation of the trust through the path. Why do we need to break or put a man in the middle trust between the workstation and the service that's holding all of the data?
Yeah. Yeah, completely.
At the end of the day,
a different way of thinking.
Yeah, and we're controlling how you get access to that data via using conditional access, via using VPN or whatever is required, but it's not done at the packet level because as soon as we touch that packet, it's not trusted.
Completely.
Yeah, and that's when you start seeing things where the service that's consuming the item that you're trying to get it knows where the packet should have come from. Yep. And that's the moment that it breaks. So
that's right.
It comes through, and now we've re-signed it with our cert. Well, the service is not expecting it to have my cert, so it says, no, you're not valid. You don't pass the checks. And so it's doing its own security, and we're breaking its own controls.
Yep. Yeah. Well, it's not even that. During out-of-box experience, how are you going to put the corporate cert on there?
You can't.
Completely.
Exactly. Yes, this is the conversation we're having.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah. So I think this is a great tool to at least help with some of these challenges. This by no means solves them, but I think it's a way to bring security to the table and be able to provide some info. And to Ben's point, I like the idea of you should spin this up with Fiddler running and see what it's hitting.
I think that would be fun. I may do this. I may do that after this video.
Pump out a list. Or make friends with whoever wrote it and say, hey, can you just give me the list, please?
Exactly.
Somebody knows what it's doing. Let's ask it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Cool. Well, awesome. I think this was a fantastic, quick little deal. Hopefully folks stuck through the extra convo on the end here, but I was hoping to finish running the wait, hold on. So stick around. I got I ran this on my not VPN on a VM sitting in my corporate environment.
I just ran it on my machine, and green ticks all over the board.
Yep.
Nice.
That SharePoint Online download speed is significantly faster for me.
Okay, well, that was completely not worth waiting for. So much better in the office. Because I'm not on VPN. So yeah, it's definitely better. All right, well, whatever. It's cool. I like it. Thanks, Steve.
Not a problem at all.
Catch you guys next time.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.